Stop trying to figure out if he likes you by what he says. Words are the one thing a guy can completely fake. He can say all the right things and feel absolutely nothing. I am Liz Rose, a relationship expert, author, and researcher of emotional dynamics between men and women. For years, I have studied attraction, male behavior, emotional intelligence, and the patterns that bring people together or drive them apart. Today, I want to share with you what I have learned through my research, my professional experience, and the thousands of stories I have encountered throughout my journey. There is one signal he sends when he is actually starting to fall for you, and he cannot fake that one, not even close. Once you know what it looks like, you will never have to guess about a guy again. You will never have to sit there replaying a conversation in your head, wondering what he meant. You will never have to ask your friends if they think he likes you. You will just know, because this signal does not lie, and he cannot hide it, even if he tries. Now, before I show you exactly what this signal is, I want you to think about something for a second. Think about the last time you were really confused about a guy. Maybe things felt good between you two. Maybe the conversations were easy and fun, and you walked away feeling like something was there. And then you got home, and the doubt started creeping in. You started thinking, okay, but does he actually like me? Or is he just like this with everyone? Maybe you checked your phone more than usual that night. Maybe you talked yourself into feeling confident about it, and then talked yourself right back out of it an hour later. Maybe you even asked a friend, and she said something like, just wait and see, which honestly made you feel worse, not better. That cycle is exhausting, and the worst part is, it is completely unnecessary because the answer was already right there in front of you. You just did not know what you were looking at, and that is not your fault at all. Nobody teaches women how to actually read what a man is showing them, so most women spend all their time and energy focused on the wrong things. They focus on what he says, they focus on how often he texts, they focus on whether he called when he said he would. All of that can feel meaningful, but none of it actually tells you what is going on inside him. Here is why. A guy can text you every single day and not be falling for you. A guy can call when he says he will because he is simply a reliable person, not because you are special to him. A guy can be warm and funny and charming in conversation because that is just his personality. None of those things by themselves mean anything real. They feel like signs. They look like signs, but they are not the signal. There is a difference between signs and the signal. Signs are scattered. Signs can mean 100 different things. The signal is specific. The signal means one thing, and when you see it, there is no other explanation for it. If you have ever felt confused about a guy, even when things seem to be going okay, you are definitely not alone in this. I want this to reach every woman who needs to hear it today. Now let me ask you something. Have you ever noticed that some women just never seem confused about where they stand with a guy? They have this calm about them when it comes to dating. They do not spiral. They do not overthink everything. They are not constantly wondering if he likes them or not. You might have thought, oh, she is just lucky, or he makes it really obvious with her. But that is not actually what is going on. Those women are not luckier than you. They are simply seeing something you have not been shown yet. They know what to look for, and because they know, they feel calm, they feel sure. They do not need him to say anything, because they can already see it. That is exactly where you are going to be after today. Because what I am about to show you changes everything. Not in a dramatic way, not in a complicated way. Just in that quiet way where something finally makes sense, and you wonder how you ever missed it before. So let's talk about what most women actually focus on when they are trying to figure out if a guy is into them. I want to be honest with you here, because some of this might sound familiar, and that is okay. The first thing most women do is analyze his texts. How fast did he reply? Did he ask a question back or just give a one-word answer? Did he use an emoji or not? Did the conversation feel warm or kind of flat? I understand why. Texting is where a lot of modern connection happens, so it makes sense that you would look there. But here is the problem with reading too much into texts. Some guys are simply bad at texting. Some guys are amazing texters with people they have zero romantic interest in. And some guys who are genuinely falling for someone will go quiet for a day or two because they are in their head about it. Texting tells you almost nothing about what is actually going on in his heart. The second thing women focus on is whether he makes plans. Does he follow through? Does he suggest doing things together? This can mean something, but it can also just mean he enjoys your company the same way he enjoys hanging out with his friends. A guy can make plans with you consistently and still not be falling for you. Making plans is not the signal. The third thing is compliments. Women listen carefully to what a guy says about them. Did he say she looked nice? Did he say she was funny? Did he say something that felt personal and specific? Compliments can feel really good, obviously. But here is the truth about compliments. They're the easiest thing in the world to give. A guy who wants something from you will compliment you. A guy who is just being friendly will compliment you. A guy who is a natural flirt will compliment everyone in the room. Compliments by themselves mean almost nothing. And then there is eye contact. Women often feel that if a guy holds eye contact, it must mean something deep is happening. And sometimes it does. But some people simply hold strong eye contact naturally because they are confident or because they are good listeners. Eye contact alone does not tell you whether a guy is falling for you. Here is the thing about all of these. They are surface level. They feel significant, but they can all be explained away by 100 other reasons. They are all things a guy can do without even thinking about you in a romantic way. And as long as you are focused on these things, you are going to keep feeling confused because none of them are the signal. The signal is something completely different. It does not come from what he says. It does not come from how often he reaches out. It comes from something he does that he is not even consciously aware of, something that happens quietly and naturally when his feelings start to shift. That is exactly why it is so reliable. It is not something he is performing for you. It is not something he decided to do to impress you. It just happens automatically, like his whole system gives it away before his brain even catches up. And that signal is this. When a man starts falling for you, he starts making your problems his problems. Not in a dramatic way, not in a way where he is suddenly trying to fix everything in your life, just in small, quiet ways that show he is thinking about you when you are not even around. He remembers the little thing you mentioned last week that was stressing you out. He checks in about it, not because you asked him to, just because it stayed with him, because you stayed with him. That is the difference between a guy who is simply enjoying your company and a guy who is actually starting to fall. Let me explain why this matters so much. When a guy is just casually interested in someone, he is present when you are together, and then he kind of moves on with his life when you are not. His world does not really expand to include yours. He likes spending time with you, but you are not taking up space in his mind when you are not there. That is just casual interest. That is a guy who enjoys you, but is not falling for you yet. But when something starts to shift, when those real feelings start to grow, something changes in how he processes you. You stop being just a fun thing in his present moment, and you start becoming someone he carries around with him. He hears a song and thinks of you. He sees something funny and wants to show you. He remembers that you had a hard day, and he wonders how it went. That wondering, that carrying you around in the back of his mind, that is what starts showing up in his behavior. That is what produces the signal. And the signal itself looks like this in real life. He brings up something you told him a while ago, something small, something you probably forgot you even mentioned. And he asks about it genuinely, not as a conversation starter, not to seem like a good listener. He asks because he actually thought about it after you told him. That is the signal. That is him showing you, without saying a single word, that you are living in his head even when you are not in the room. Think about how different that is from a compliment. A compliment takes 2 seconds. Anyone can give one. But remembering something small and personal that you shared, and then coming back to check on it, that takes real attention. That takes someone who was actually listening, someone who actually cared about what you said. Guys do not do that for people they are just casually hanging around with. They do it when something real is happening inside them. Now, here's the crazy part about this signal. It can feel so small and so ordinary in the moment that most women completely brush past it. He says something like, "Hey, did that thing with your friend ever work out?" And you say, "Yeah, it was fine." And you move on, and you never stop to realize what just happened. He remembered something you told him days ago. He thought about it on his own time, and he cared enough to ask. That is not nothing. That is actually everything. That is a man whose world is quietly expanding to include yours. And once you start seeing it for what it is, you start noticing it more and more, because it is not just one moment. When a guy is falling for you, this pattern shows up repeatedly. He remembers your coffee order. He remembers you said you were nervous about something at work. He remembers you mentioned a movie you wanted to see. He brings these things up not all at once, not in a way that feels like he is trying to prove something, just naturally, casually. Like, of course he remembered. Like, why would he not? Because to him, paying attention to you has become natural. It has become something he just does without thinking about it. Now, I want to make sure you understand the difference between this and a guy who is just trying to impress you, because that is a really important distinction. A guy who is performing for you will make a big show of remembering things. He will bring it up in a way that feels a little too deliberate, a little too, "Look at me, look at how well I listen." It will feel slightly staged, like he is checking a box. But a guy who is genuinely falling for you does not bring it up to impress you. He brings it up because it just came out naturally, because you came to mind, and he followed that feeling without overthinking it. There is a softness to it, a casualness to it, and when you feel that difference, you will know exactly which one you are dealing with. So let's talk about some of the other ways this same signal shows up, because it is not always about remembering specific things you said. Sometimes it shows up as him noticing changes in your mood. "You seem a little quiet today. Is everything okay?" He did not have to say that. You were not asking for it, but he noticed. He was paying attention closely enough to pick up on the fact that something was a little different with you today. That is the signal again. That is him being so tuned into you that he catches things most people would walk right past. Sometimes it shows up as him thinking ahead for you. He sees something and thinks, "Oh, she would love that." He finds out about something happening and thinks you would want to know about it. He is not waiting for you to ask him for things. He is anticipating what would make you happy, because thinking about your happiness has become something he just naturally does now. And when you are on the receiving end of that, it feels so good. It feels like being genuinely seen, because you are. Sometimes it shows up as protectiveness, not in a controlling way, just in a quiet, "I've got you" kind of way. He makes sure you got home safe. He remembers you said you do not like walking alone at night, and without making a big deal of it, he just makes sure that does not happen when you're with him. Little things, thoughtful things, things that show he is thinking about your comfort and your safety, not because he has to, but because he wants to. All of these things are the same signal showing up in different ways. They are all versions of the same truth. He is carrying you around with him. You are in his thoughts when you are not in the room. Every small, thoughtful thing, every moment where he shows you he was listening, every time he checks in about something you mentioned, that is him falling for you. That is the signal. Now, here is where a lot of women make a mistake, and I really want you to pay attention to this part, because this is where things can go wrong. Even when everything is going right, when you start seeing these signals, when you start realizing that he really is falling for you, the temptation is to immediately go all in. You get excited, and suddenly you are texting more. You are more available. You are more everything. While there's nothing wrong with showing that you are interested, there is something important you need to understand. The signal is showing you that his feelings are growing. Your job is not to suddenly become overwhelming with yours. Your job is to match his energy in a natural, easy way. Stay warm, stay open, but stay yourself. Here is what happens when you go all in too fast. He was falling at his own pace. He was enjoying the process of getting to know you and feeling those feelings grow naturally. And when you suddenly shift into a completely different gear, it can throw things off. Not because you did anything wrong, but because the balance changed too quickly. And balance is actually what keeps early attraction healthy and growing. The second mistake women make is they start looking for the signal so hard that they create pressure around it. They start acting differently. They become hyper-aware of every interaction, and he picks up on that shift in energy. He does not know what changed, but he can feel that something is different. And that slight tension can make him pull back a little. Not because his feelings change, just because things suddenly feel heavier than they did before. So when you are watching for this signal, do it quietly. Do it from a grounded place. See it for what it is and let it give you confidence without letting it make you anxious. The third mistake is expecting this signal to come on a timeline. Some guys start showing it early. Some guys take longer because they have been hurt before or because they move more slowly emotionally. If you are waiting for it to show up by a certain point and it has not yet, you might start pulling back or acting out of insecurity when actually all you needed to do was give it a little more time. Every guy is different. The signal is universal. The timeline is not. And the fourth mistake, and this one is big, is ignoring how you actually feel in return. You get so focused on figuring out if he is falling for you that you forget to check in with yourself. Are you falling for him? Do you actually want this? Does being around him feel good? Does he make you feel seen, comfortable, and like yourself? His feelings matter, but yours matter just as much. Do not let his interest become the whole story. Make sure your own feelings get a seat at the table too. Now, let's talk about what happens when you get this right. When you see the signal clearly and you respond to it in a grounded, confident way, something really beautiful starts to happen. He feels safe. He feels like his feelings are landing somewhere good. He does not feel like he is being chased, pressured, or tested. He just feels like things are flowing naturally between two people who genuinely like each other. And that safety is what makes him open up more. That safety is what turns those early falling feelings into something deeper and more real. Here is the truth about how men fall in love. They do not fall because a woman did everything perfectly. They do not fall because she was always available, or always said the right thing, or always looked amazing. They fall because being around her felt easy and real, because she made them feel good about themselves, because they could be themselves without performing, because something about her stuck with them even when she was not there. That sticking, that is what you are seeing when the signal shows up. That is what it means. He cannot stop thinking about you. And that is where everything begins. So from now on, stop counting his texts. Stop analyzing his words. Stop trying to decode whether that thing he said meant something or nothing. None of that is where the truth lives. The truth lives in what he remembers, in what he notices, in whether you are living in his head when you are not in the room, in whether he shows up for the small things without being asked. That is where you look. That is the signal. And now you know exactly what it looks like. Once you see it, everything gets quiet. The confusion goes away. The anxiety goes away. You stop needing him to say anything because you can already see it in everything he does. That kind of clarity is what changes how you show up in everything. You stop chasing. You stop guessing. You stop shrinking yourself trying to figure out where you stand. You stand exactly where you are, confident and clear, because you already know. And that version of you, the one who is calm and grounded and not running on anxiety, that is honestly the most attractive version of you there is. Not because you are playing a game, not because you are holding back on purpose, but because you are genuinely secure. And that security is magnetic. It makes him want to be around you more. It makes him feel good when he is with you. And it makes those falling feelings grow faster and stronger than anything else ever could. That is the full picture. That is the signal. What it looks like, why it matters, what to do when you see it, and what to avoid so you do not accidentally get in your own way. This is not complicated. It never had to be. You just needed someone to show you where to actually look. And I am so glad I could be that person for you today.